Welcome to yet another episode of the POV podcast. I think this is probably our millionth episode. Oh, I wish. We're going to get there one day. But today, my guest is not only a artist, he is a man who knows his worth and has decided to speak his story on and on again in the media, and he's done that through music, through art, and even through entrepreneurship. He calls himself a 20-year-old for now, though I find it hard to believe because the first time he debuted in the industry was back in 2002. I can't believe there's no way someone is started their debut in 2002 and they're 20 years now. Collins Majale, aka Colo Mfalme, explain 20 marks.
20 marks. Lazima nizipate zote.
Na mark. Na mark.
Nikianguka labda tu maze by one. Iko 19 juu nilikuwa 19 last year.
Sasa ndio umefika 20.
Sasa nimeingia mbao sasa. Maze.
Well, if you don't get it, let me put it for you straight. We're celebrating Colo at 20. He's celebrating his 20 years in music, and of course, you can see the difference between Klepto, Colo, and also the transition into working in agency. We're going to be talking about all that, but let's begin with the maniac himself. Mm-hmm. A 16-year-old. I was baffled that Collins Majale started music at 16. That's shocking.
It's crazy because of course at that age when boys are usually 16 up on the pupa yokuwa nilikuwa na hiyo moto of course. So we recorded our first track when I was 16 and the rest of the guys were a year older than me. That's
so
Roba
we're
and
talking Roba is 17,
Yes.
Nyash is 17 as
17.
well.
I'm
There's no 18-year-old. There's no adult.
There was no adult.
You guys are joking.
Yeah. Ilikuwa hivyo. So our breakthrough record was now Maniac's Anthem in 2002, which was included in the compilation album Ogopa 1.
Okay.
That was the biggest album then.
Yes.
Yeah.
So is it legal for underages to be recording in studios? It's okay.
No, we got into production.
Yes.
So because we used to just initially write music together and perform in school, especially high school, my V show, and then at different schools performing during V shows. But then we're like, guys, see, we just package
it into a
let's
music.
package it. And so we saved up $3,000 each because our track at Ogopa DJs then was $8,000.
Yes.
$8,000 in 2001 was a lot of money.
It will get you a whole album if you want it.
No. Just a single.
A single.
Yes.
So sai single moja ni how much?
So single moja sahi inaweza kukucost on an average. A good quality single would be about $100,000.
You're kidding me.
Yes.
When mnadhani mziki hailipi.
Maze ni noma.
Okay, so you guys are 17, 16. And you have to package yourself. You have to have rights. The name Klepto has to be, it's an intellectual property on its own. How did you guys maneuver that? Because I don't think kids at that time would know how to do that.
Looking at hindsight, now is what I would tell a 16-year-old Colo. Make sure the paperwork is sorted out. For us, that time, the business wasn't top priority. We were more passionate about the art.
Being famous.
Not even exactly being okay, there's that.
Yeah.
But at that time, it was just all about how can I get to share what we're doing with the world.
Okay.
Because the skill, especially rap at that time, was everything to us. It was our escape, from many other things.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man.
So I want to know the schedule of I won't lie, I'm still stuck on the young Colo because I want to get to the journey of 20. How do you leave school and still have time to record? You have assignments to do. Form 3, you're coming closer to Form 4.
Yeah.
And unajua KCSE na karibia. How do you handle KCSE na pia uko mziki?
Balance.
How? Because, man, there's homework. There's a lot to do. You're called for gigs. You're not like any other 16-year-old.
Yeah, it's crazy because even at that age, we were still getting leave passes to go and perform.
Okay.
in different gigs. So we had a lot of support within the school also.
Oh, that's nice.
You know,
Yeah.
some teachers understood, yeah, these guys are on to something.
Okay.
You know, so that balance was key to be able to focus on some academics and then other skills.
How well did you do, by the way?
I was so that's a very good question. When I started off school,
Yeah.
I started off British system
Okay.
at St. Christopher's.
Yeah.
Then I moved to
Nairobi School.
844. No. Now to Moi Educational Center.
Moi Educational Center, okay.
Where now nikarealize watu pia upigwa.
Uko GCSE amko mnapigwa?
Yeah. That was culture shock. Like I was literally traumatized at some point. So when I noticed that people are being beaten up because maybe they don't understand something, I switched off.
Damn.
From academics, I was like, nah, this is not for me.
So you were performing well in GCSE?
Yes. No,
In the British system?
British and into Kenyan system.
You were still performing
Yes.
well? Okay.
Yes. So at the point where I joined now 844 system, I'm like, why are people being beaten because they don't understand something? Should you beat someone because someone doesn't understand something? So there was a lot of emphasis around academics,
Yeah.
as opposed to skills around music, acting, or sports, you
Yeah.
know? So I switched off from academics and I was like, okay, I'll stick it out.
Yeah.
I'll finish Primo.
Yeah.
I'll stick it out. I'll finish high school. But I'm not feeling this.
Because it's pressed on,
Yeah.
you know, how intellectual you can be,
Yeah.
how well can you perform.
Yeah. So if I'm not getting an A in math or science, I'm getting an A in swimming.
Yeah, so you're good at swimming.
I'm getting an A in music, but how come that is not being celebrated? You get? So at some point I was like, easy vitu za academics haziwezi.
So did it affect you as finishing your high school? Did it affect you?
No, I finished.
Sawa tu vizuri.
Nilimaliza hata niliambia madhe, we start drop out.
Hiyo jua tu.
Start drop out. But from when I at 16, I knew exactly what I wanted to do.
I love that. You know, it's very hard to find people who know their path early because you get lost. You find people even at 40 still trying to find themselves. They don't know who they are because they've always been put on a box or told to follow a certain way. What do you think helped you to know yourself, to know that indo njia nitafuata?
Within, I think it's just the spirit within.
Yeah,
you need Holy Ghost.
Holy Ghost alikuongoza.
And nilikuwa najua for a fact nataka kudui kitu juu. The first time nilisikia, of course growing up, nilisikia maze songs mob. The first time nilisikia watu wana rap in Sheng. I was blown.
Yeah?
Just imagine in the 90s, you're used to listening to the new kids on the block, Kanda Bongo Man, Nani, then the Mushrooms. But here comes Hardstone. Here comes Kalamashaka.
Uko fulani.
Now,
Yeah.
Nazizi, yani confirmed. When she said, mama, nataka kuwa rapa.
Mtoto wewe umenishinda.
Nikasema udempa, yani udempa kame, pia.
Dem anaweza rap.
Twende.
Oh man, Azizi did it for sure.
Nayo, man.
I like that she's your inspiration because she's stuck it out and she's doing this music thing among boys, you know. And I remember she said it as well. She was like, even me as a kid when I was doing music, I wasn't a grown up, and that's the thing people don't know sometimes. People will be like, oh, I grew up listening to Colo, and y'all don't realize he was growing up with you guys. Sisi wote ni watoi.
Maze. Special shout out to Nazizi. I love her so much.
Yeah?
Yep.
So now when you look at people like Trio Mio right now, he's doing so well at a young age. It's just like literally, it's almost the same template. Now that it's just that he's alone. He's, you know, he has his own sound.
Yeah.
Then you are a group. How would you look at his trajectory for such a kid right now? Because you, at that time, because we spoke a little bit before we started filming, and you mentioned your mom was not around at the time. Trio has his mom around. how do you think it helps, or what does it do to a young man in art?
That's a very, very good question.
Yeah.
I feel that now is when I'm starting off my calling in music. I can say the past experience was more about the career.
Okay.
So saindo nimekomaa, saindo naanza sasa. Unaona? So if I look at Trio, I say he's like a national treasure.
Yeah.
That is yet to export.
Okay.
So, in my opinion, I feel like how the game was cut in Kenya was more about, let's tap into the youngest talents. They pick you up, they give you some tunes, you either misuse, then after they're done with you, next. You know what I mean? It's like overfishing. So what happens is when you start awakening and when you're more self-aware, when you're 16, you're not really self-aware.
You don't know much.
Yes. So at the point us guys were setting off, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, those are like prime years.
Yes.
But we are still young. There's only
experiencing.
So much. Go ahead.
And then you guys are experiencing what people experience in their 30s.
Exactly.
The fame, the money, the exposure.
And now even at that time, there was little to no financial discipline.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't about really the money, as mentioned. For us, it was about the passion for creating good art, good music, good shows, So that's a very interesting question, as mentioned, because when we come back to the younger generations now, like the Trio, we're yet to see Trio at 30.
Damn.
When he's 30, I think that's the time now when he's really going to set out, because the world is now enjoying Wizkid in his full
circle now.
Exactly.
Yes,
you see?
yes.
So, yeah.
Same with Justin Bieber.
Exactly.
Because Justin started as a kid, and right now is when he's singing more emotional songs that make sense. He's reaching both crowds, the young and because now he's speaking his language the way he wanted.
Yep.
I like that. So it means even for you right now, because you discovered yourself, you even, turned a whole new leaf, went from secular to gospel, and you announced it. You feel like now you're speaking what you've always wanted to.
From secular to gospel, gospel boomer to secular, And that's another interesting thing.
Yeah.
So I had my spiritual encounter as a person.
Yes.
And I was able to share that at that time. So I think in Kenya, people like boxing people. Especially if you come out with such kind of testimonies and you say, I've had a spiritual awakening. So,
you're only into Christian music.
Sasa wewe usiwahi imba anything else. So what's gospel? What's gospel? For me, I'll say the songs we did when we were younger, the Twendeles, the swings. I think that's gospel.
That was your truth then.
Exactly.
Yes, that was your story then. Yes.
So, after my spiritual awakening and encounter, I received Christ. But that was my testimony to be able to share with people that, yes, as a man, you reach a point in your life where you get to a crossroads and you need to make a decision, at some point. Because as far as wellness is concerned, spiritual wellness is key. Top. So that doesn't mean, okay, I'm kind of spiritually woke, then I fit into the box of Christians in Kenya.
Okay, so we cannot box you as a gospel artist. No.
I'm an artist I've always been an artist
Full
and a
stop.
musician. Yeah,
Yeah,
full
I
stop.
think, but you see, the world generally always wants to do that so they can know where to put you, where to place you, how to rate you.
Exactly, you know.
It's easier for the world to do that, but you're the one who will command where you want to be placed.
Exactly.
Yeah, I like that.
Mm-hmm.
When you listen to Colo, especially every time he jumps on the track, it's always interesting how he's his own vibe. And there's once we talked, I think a while back when the club, and I told him, I feel like you have something called a Midas touch. You know? Nachocha. But it's true. No, listen. When every time you're on a track, you feel the twist. We're talking about You Guy, we're talking about Party Don't Stop, Bazo Kizo. We're talking about so many tracks. Every time you hear that Colo sound, there's a
Je ne
Midas.
sais quoi.
Kwenda, kuna. Sa unachocha. There's always a Midas touch. Let's go back to when you guys were starting out. Who's one of the people that kind of like helped you understand how to spice up your rhythm and lyrics and all that? Who are the people who trained you guys how to write?
Well, I like that question.
Yeah.
You know, growing up in Nairobi West, of course, there's a story of I came back from a musical family.
Yes.
You know, my late father really enjoyed music thoroughly, and he collected music. My bro, he used to distribute sound. My bro is a DJ. Our firstborn brother is a Roomba DJ. So naturally,
Music, was it?
yeah.
So even mom wasn't shocked. She's like, kind of runs in the family.
Yeah.
Quick question. Your father passed away when? When did your father pass away?
Early 2000.
So he never got to listen to your music?
He did.
Oh,
Actually.
yeah?
That's a very good question, man.
He got to listen to your music?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, he got to listen to
What
my
did he, alishika alipata gani?
Si zote tu, hata kulikuwa na matime nilikuwa namwambia tunaenda show.
Okay.
Nilikuwa good vibes. But kuna kitu nilikuwa na kushow.
Before turuke sana.
Kuna kitu nilikuwa na kushow.
Yeah. You came from a musical family.
Yeah. So at the point we got into production of music, we also kind of needed to, you know, approach it differently.
Okay.
But in the process of doing that, we were learning. Because, you know, when it comes to the conversation about the music sector in Kenya,
Yeah.
it's a very green area, and the best is yet to come.
Yeah. Especially at that time, you guys are writing lyrics at Ogopa with Akina Lucas. And I've heard from rumors, Lucas is very cutthroat sometimes. Did he ever turn down any of your lyrics?
Actually, I've just remembered in relation to that. So you asked who are some of the guys who contributed towards the rap.
Yeah.
So growing up, I know one, UB. Yeah.
UB is a great writer. Oh my God. Kama mjui any leo.
So before Klepto,
Yeah.
because Klepto started off in high school and it was Roba and Nyash. I
Yes.
was a solo artist.
Okay.
Then Nyash aka convince Roba, mjama maze lazima aingie kikundi. But before Klepto, just before I joined high school, I used to try out my raps, and UB was my guy, man.
Yeah?
Like we would rap together. He would teach me how to rap and just, you know, get established flow. I remember there was a time him and I were a duo.
Yeah.
And we had a concert in some church along South Sea. I don't know, it was Kenya Assembly or something.
Oh my God, in church.
Yeah, in church. And we were supposed to present, and we presented. We rapped. And I remember the verse.
Ulikuwa rap ya Jesus.
UB mazi aliniandikia verse kali sana. Alitaka kunipokonya uwezo wangu wa kuomba, ule devil akanitisha nikadhani ama gona, lakini nikajikaza no sweat. Sitakoma the black. Mazi.
This is 2001.
Now this is before.
2000
this
even.
This is at probably 98, 99.
Where?
Yep.
Where was I? I don't want to count now.
I was still in Primo, though. But tulikuwa na rap maze. So UB and now the clique that we grew up with, Kaone Jeezy, KGB.
Yes.
Yeah, so that Nyashinsky also, we used to write a lot together, ciphers with Kinaroba and the whole clique.
That's how the skill became even better.
Yeah, because every other weekend we'd link up and just rap.
Damn. You know, I won't lie, for any parent, it would be scary. Because when you see your kid talented, there's nothing you really can do. Because you know deep inside that's what they want.
Yeah.
Did your mother ever want anything else for you other than this?
My mom always, she spoils me too much. Man. Too much, man. Too much.
Okay.
So whatever I wanted, she would make sure I
She
get
was
it.
down
and
for
even
it.
Yep.
Way? That's interesting. I like that. It's lucky, and I'm realizing a lot of artists who grew up in that age did not really fight the battle. I remember I hosted Jua Kali here, and he was like, my parents were down for my career. But for others, it's not always been the case.
Of course.
For me, it's actually really different. That was not... So sometimes when I hear it, I'm like, yeah, you guys were living a different life, eh? But then it's good because, you see, it became easy for you to work, easy for you to go for concerts and actually, you know, get something for yourself.
Yeah.
So now you were leaving high school. Will you decide whether you want to go to uni ama unatakaje?
Hiyo time maze kikundi ilikuwa imevuma. Wewe niambie nimetoka. Okay. 2002 niko kwa compilation album inaitwa Ogopa One.
Yes.
Hiyo ndio ilikuwa na Githurai. Hiyo ndio ilikuwa na Leo ni Leo ya Isa, alafu sasa ngoma yetu Maniacs Anthem debuted.
Tell me other songs. Githurai, Leo ni Leo.
Nina Noki
Noki
was in that album. Amani also had a song there. I believe in all of me. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
So imagine in that album, there was like a 17-year-old boy there. And by the time I was getting to Form 4, we have Hare. It made it to this Ogopa 2.
Yes.
And at that time, we'd already won all the awards for the teens, Chaguo Latinis.
Yeah.
Every year.
Back to
2002, 2003, 2004, 2005, Kisima Awards. Fresh from high school, we have Tuendele.
That's where... Damn.
Yeah, so no one was telling me anything.
Where? So umemaliza high school and I'm already on top of the world.
Nimemaliza high school na niko na hit. African hit.
Damn.
Na ujue hiyo verse ya Tuendele. Hiyo verse yangu. Niko verse niliandika nikiwa form in UG.
Kiendelea
To
form
do
4.
journalism and communication. But your time maze. Tulikuwa on tour, so tour.
Darasa.
Ai.
Tour kwanza.
Wacha tupige shughuli. Then, you know, everything has a time for it. So eventually I would join uni in 2017.
Yes. And let me tell you, sometimes, because you need to carve your own path sometimes. You need to go through that journey. Because if you guys dropped it at its peak, ingeisha mapema sana. You guys needed to do swing. You needed to do so much more so that it sticks.
Exactly.
It needed to be done.
Your uni libidi to make curve.
For a while.
For once to yani so that Wakenya will get to enjoy.
Yeah, baby. Because it's a different focus. And it's hard to handle as well.
Of course.
But I'm glad you guys stuck it out. And of course, eventually you went to school. So, Klepto is doing well. Things are going, you know, the way they're supposed to go. Why the bleep did you guys decide to split?
Seasons changed.
What do you mean seasons changed? Hakuna kitu kama seasons changed.
2002, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's only 6 years. Yani the atmosphere enyewe pia I think ilikuwa imeshibana.
Na nyinyi?
Juu tulikuwa we were all over the place.
Yeah.
And at that time in 2007 is when we did our US tour. And at that point, after the tour, is when we disbanded. So I had the choice of staying back in the US with my mom because she used to live there. But I decided to come back to Kenya with Roba.
To live your own life.
Yeah, just to start. I was like, man, God figure me out. Because I was 21 then.
Yes.
And staying in the US.
With my mom.
Not just with my mom. The fame and everything that was going on had got into my head. So I'm like, how am I going to stay in the US? Doing what? You know? So I decided to come back with Roba. I tried launching my own solo career then.
Yeah.
But then we decided to collaborate with Roba.
Yes.
And at that point, that's when Ulopa shows up in the picture.
And then we're doing Magnetic.
Psycho.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was really a good move as well.
Yes.
Because the catalog, the Colo catalog continues to grow.
Yes,
So there's more and more music to be done and to be performed as you're going through. So even though you came back working.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the thing is, when we came, like this, Nyash really, this was what Nyash asked me at the airport in New York. He asked me, bro, what are you going back to? Like, are you sure you want to go back? Because that was an election year.
For Kenya.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what changed. Like, literally, if you want to know, the seasons had changed.
Yeah.
So when we came back, I think we did a show with Roba in Dubai. Crazy.
Yeah.
Then now PNU campaigns, then everything just went.
Ooh.
So the culture that we thought we had worked on and built, and this key thing that we thought we've built, this thing came crumbling down.
Because this is when President Kibaki got into governance.
Yes. So that's now, you can imagine 2007, 2008 post-election violence.
Yes.
The culture, everything dissolved. So we're waiting for the dust to settle, and we're trying to look for each other. Because there was a community that had been formed because of those previous years.
Yes.
But then all that stopped.
Damn.
So you're starting from scratch to try and build a community again. But at that time, seasons literally, as I'd mentioned, seasons really change.
But I like to hear the trajectory and how even the economy or the political status of any country would affect your career.
Yeah.
I was literally telling guys on my socials, like right now, tonight, we need to study the recession. And we study previous times it has happened, who survived, who didn't, and what we can do to survive it. Now we're coming into a season where art is the creator market grow inakatamu bana. Compare the creator market then, and remember there's a time you were working in agency, so you've been the talent and you've been the ones paying the talent. You've seen how is that now, and how are we going to come out of it through this moment? Remember, kumbuka, you were the talent. There's a time now you're the ones paying talent or making talent pay, and then now you're back to talent.
Okay. So I like using this line. I'm sure it's been used severally. The talent is just 5%.
Okay.
So whether you're skilled, that's good for you. And everyone has something unique that God has placed in their hand.
Yeah.
The talent is 5%. The real work is the 95% of, okay, how do we convert that talent into value?
Yes. Yeah.
So it's been an interesting journey, especially now after 2008, 9 into 10, I used to freelance a lot. Collaborated with a couple of studios and production houses in creating campaigns, strategies for different brands. And the late Eric Ndavi, special shout out to him, R.I.P.
Brother to Dennis
Ndavi, like he would mentor me into agency.
Wow.
And the late David Ohingo also, he was a great creative as well, agency.
Yes.
So I remember I did a couple of jobs for a telco, and eventually now the gurus in agency at that time, advertising and creative work in your OG, what's his name?
Big Mike.
No, Andrew White.
Ah.
Yes,
Awesome.
special shout out to Andrew.
Yeah.
Yeah, gave me a shot of joining agency, and just told me, you connect well with the audience through your music. Why don't you come and sit at agency and understand how things work?
Okay. That's
So,
interesting.
Yeah, so being able to sit at agency and now understanding there's the music sector, but then there's the industry, and agency is the mediator between corporate
And
and the talent. So
Okay.
how does it work?
yeah.
So it was an interesting learning curve, and agency had its own challenges.
So now we could easily say you understand how the money works in the art industry.
I'm learning.
You're still learning.
Yeah.
Bado kushika hapa 2 na 3 tuambie moja.
Tumetoka industrialization, sasa tuko digitalization.
Haya.
Na venye tulikuwa tuna release ngoma, watu walikuwa wanagojea the beat.
Wanaingoja waone kwa
5
TV.
Watu walikuwa wanagojea. Sasa wasona release muziki 1 million songs a day, zina releasiwa TikTok wapi, so lazima pia regroup. So when I'm saying I'm learning, it's because we're evolving, things are changing, and you can't get stuck in doing things the old way.
Yes, you won't progress. You have to go with the wave, you have to go with the times.
Ndo hiyo.
Inabidi. Na naonekana ulienda na times because now, you decided, if the music thing is not working, how about I still break bank while I am in agency? Do you remember? I know you remember. What agency were you working with at the time? Scanad.
Yes.
How long did you work at Scanad?
2 years.
Miaka 2 tu?
2 years only.
Did you go to any other agency?
So I used to supply before
Yes.
as a consultant.
Yes.
Then I ended up working at agency. Then immediately after agency, I received Jesus Christ. Immediately.
Ulipata naye hapo kwa
I got to I got to relearn
Yes.
from a biblical perspective.
Okay.
So it's not what I thought I knew anymore. It's okay. Renew your mind.
Start afresh.
Start afresh. And that was an interesting journey, because then I got to understand the spiritual matters differently, more intimately.
Yeah.
I grew up in a Christian home.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
That's nice.
My mom is proper Catholic.
Okay.
However, I found salvation not in the Catholic Church. And there's nothing wrong with the Catholic Church.
Of course, it's just not, that's not where you
Yes.
found yourself.
That's not where I found myself. So getting to understand myself as a man from a biblical perspective really, really helped.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Because now you're not running for help to men.
Ah, who are you running to for help?
See, now the Holy Spirit.
Yourself.
Yes.
Ikuongoze mwenyewe.
Yeah, so unatafuta Mungu kibinafsi. Unaona, huwezi dependia wase kutafuta God. Lazima look from within. So I got to understand more about who a man is, you know, with after the song Bazokizo,
Yeah.
which was my celebration of the salvation I received. I did a song called Jijue. Mwanaume ni kumjua Yesu.
Yes.
So when you talk of Africa, there's a dysfunction in homes
A big one.
that we are yet to really find out what's going on. But I usually tell my friends, before we talk about the government, before we talk about the church, before we talk about marriage, let's talk about relationships between men and men.
You've said a couple of times.
Yeah, like, how do men perceive each other? So when you talk of Africa and spirituality, West Africans and South Africans have an esteem for spiritual matters compared to East Africans.
Yes. They're still not as whitewashed as we are.
You get?
Yes.
And especially Kenyans. Musema Kenyans ni the spoiled brats
Of Africa.
of Africa.
Hey, hatujambiwa vizuri.
Hiyo ni ukweli. Tuko na yani tulibuy into colonialism, tumeimport everything, tumekuwa tukihead start na tukispearhead vitu mob, but hawa se wengine wenye hawana hiyo privilege wanakama wanatupita.
Either way.
You see?
Aje.
Thank you. And it boils back to the conversation that men have as men. Do I look at the next dude as a taxpayer? Do I respect his time and his value for being in that space with me? Now, here in Kenya...
Versus what? That's the question.
Yeah.
Versus what?
Sasa,
How else do we look at them?
unaona? So Kenya, foundations za Kenya ni capitalism. Hapa maze ni usipojipanga, shida zako. So you find that men are, especially when you talk of communities, you'll see how men in the Hindu communities relate with each other. In Islam, how they relate with each other compared to what we call ourselves as Christians in Kenya.
Yeah.
We have a long way to go.
Tuko na safari ndefu.
Kuna gumzo lazima ipigwe kama wanaume.
Unajua umesema hivyo nikakumbuka, nitatoboa siri. Tukiwa peke yetu na Colo tunaongeanga yetu. Peke yetu tu ya kimziki. Umesema West African, I remembered. There's a time you are at Big Brother, Big Brother Africa. And while you were there, remember, you were just going for a performance. So you did that, and you also did a malaria campaign while still in Nigeria. How was your experience there? Because now you're experiencing stardom in a whole other country. And at this time, you're not even going as Klepto, you've gone as Colo.
Yeah.
How was it?
It was amazing. Special shout out to Wangeshi Murage. So I got an opportunity to be a guest artist at the Big Brother Revolution, Big Brother House. And I was there between 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. And yani venye tu niliingia, ule mtu alinipokea ni mjama fulani kutoka Nigeria. Anaitwa Kevin Chwangpam. So we hit it off like from the word go. Sali tu niliingia maze alikuwa na vibes poa. So We hung out like the whole day. That was my bestie, yani.
That was fun.
Ilikuwa, yani tuliclick vipoa. So I didn't know that when I left, when I was just leaving the house,
Yeah.
I remember he told me, Colo, I will look for you. As soon as I get out of this house, I'm looking for you.
Yeah.
So I went home. Then the following week was the finals. Who wins? Kevin.
Chong pom.
Chuang Pam.
Chong pom.
Kevin calls me, asks me, where are you? Tell him, I'm in Kenya. He's telling me, leave from wherever you are. Head to the airport. I got you. Don't even come with clothes.
Come as you are.
Venye uko, I'll fly first class. Was received. We got to tour Nigeria. We started off in Lagos, tukaenda Abuja, tukaenda kwao Chakwao Jos. That's when now we're doing the campaign Justified Niger Picking. So it was a campaign around distributing mosquito nets.
Yes.
But he flew in all the housemates who were there in the final week.
Wow. Just for this campaign.
Just for this campaign. So from Jos to Port Harcourt, from Port Harcourt to Bonny Island. Hey, sherehe ilikuwa si sherehe. Ilibidi ni hepe.
Wewe umekuja bila fare, bila jacket, umeenda tu.
Nimeenda.
Ni simu na charger.
Simu na hata charger tuliacha. Hata charger tuliacha, ilibidi tumeenda huko. Kama unanunua charger unaitupa, unanunua ingine.
Sherehe ya manager. Those guys can party.
Nigerians are not a joke when it comes to extravagance and partying.
Damn.
They go hard.
It's a good time down there.
Yeah,
up there.
I really enjoyed. It was my first trip to Nigeria. I had to run away, of course, but then we hit it off well, and the relationship between Kevin and I remained solid to the point that when Andrew and the team at Ogilvy and Martha's wanted to do a shoot in Nigeria, Andrew called me and told me, Colo, we were doing some auditions here and some guys didn't do their jobs. You said you have a friend in Nigeria. We're looking for talent to come to be the part of the cast and the crew. Are you able to link us up with that guy?
Yeah.
Called Kevin up. Kevin sent guys from, he was in Abuja. He sent guys.
Yeah.
And they found
Wow.
who they wanted. So those are the relationships we're talking about. Currently, I know he's in Tanzania. He's a stand-up comedian,
Yes.
really great artist and a
Yes.
creative. He's a producer too. So special shout out to Kevin Chuang Pam and the Pam family.
Acha nikwambie naona kama umechapa sherehe hii ya Africa. So how many countries have you been to in Africa?
Wow. Sudan, South Africa, Tanzania, Uganda,
Nigeria, of course.
Nigeria, of course. Yeah, I think.
All this paid by music.
Music.
Music inalipa.
Inalipa na inafungua milango. Music, actually, in the words of Professor Kimberly Carballo from Indiana State, she says, music gets you to where you ought to be.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Damn. So it was essential that you carved this far. It's essential that at New York airport, you told Nyashwe baki mi na kam Nairobi baki.
Newark, ilibidi nimemwambia my friend. wewe unaweza hold up, mi wacha nika hold it down.
Which is good.
In the 254, because then came back, ended up working with Camp Mula, with P Unit for you guy.
Yeah.
If I didn't come back, Kenyans probably would never get to.
For real, if you didn't
enjoy
come
those
back,
songs.
we would never have experienced Camp Mula.
Yep.
Which also begs the question, is there a time that we will find a group that will last the tail of time? Because Sauti Sol recently announced that they're going to go all on their solo careers. Klepto ndo hao waliachana hizo miaka.
But Sauti Sol have already done it.
They've done what?
Stuck it out.
No.
My dear.
As we want them to shikilia,
No.
bado.
Kenyans need
They
to
have
give
served
Sauti
their
Sol
time.
a break. Let them just do them because they've held it down and suck it out for. It's phenomenal. I commend them. They've shown us it's possible. But you see, hakunanga kitu haina mwisho. So kudos to Sauti Sol.
But even in history, I won't lie, I don't think there's any group that has actually stuck it out.
Even the Bee Gees didn't stick it out the way Sauti Sol have.
Yeah?
Yeah, Sauti Sol are...
Even Destiny's Child.
Even Destiny's Child. So...
That we stand to be corrected, because hapo tajo tutapatwa na Beehive. We.
Beehive wakuje tu. Kuna hizo suti za white.
We.
Kwa hizo suti za white na moshi.
Oh man. And you know what, I love the fact that we have gone through the journey of Colo at 20 and we're landing here at a point where of course the transition of music is different, the distribution is different now. What will Colo at 20 give us?
So I used to be known for the craziest parties for those guys who grew up with me. Kauna Jomaze, Mr. Majale. From the Primo days, I used to throw the craziest parties. Nilikuwa naitwanga Colo Mabash.
Colo Mabash. Party after party.
Bash zangu zilikuwa true.
We.
So nataka kufanya bash ya kimataifa. But itakuwa ni kitu exclusive. Ya wale wase wenye wako na mimi for real.
Yeah. We're going to see your daughter in the audience.
Aizi hata. Yeye kwanza anapatiwa front row.
Of course, aizi kosa. How has it been for you, of course, seeing yourself, you're a girl dad. You're a girl dad.
Yeah.
And your daughter's going to be seeing a couple of your music videos, twerking with girls. How does that resonate with her?
There's no. Do I have a video with girls twerking really?
Here you are, Piuni, tumevaka costume na.
Oh, ile you guy.
There's that.
That Bendai.
You know? And then there's Twendele, the girls, but it's always just,
It's good vibes. It's like, in as much as, hip hop, again, is celebrating its 50 years.
Yeah.
Hip hop has its negative connotations in how they glorify some things,
No, especially women, more than anything.
Especially women, yeah. But I believe in the content that I've made. We always try to maintain respect for women. No.
You're running, but I will cut you. We're talking about your daughter, not women.
Yeah.
Just that little girl who has your name.
Yeah.
How does she understand this entertainer? Because she's going to see this, or she has already seen this, or she probably knows to it.
Yes.
How does she understand that, okay, dad is standing with a lady who's twerking, poorly in her undies. How does she see dad and this guy? Because also, it's not something normal to see your dad do.
Well, she's experienced the different phases of dad. And when dad did some things in a specific season, he grew out of those things.
Okay.
So if you look at the music video for instance, You Guy, in my opinion, and I stand to be corrected, there was nothing wrong with that video.
There's really nothing. Even I'm going to know ilikuwa inabaniwa in the first place. It wasn't that bad.
It wasn't bad at all.
Yeah.
And those were professional models that we worked with. And it was a professional production.
Yeah.
And so she understands if we are trying to depict a certain story and tell that story in a certain way, we should be able to do it.
And she respects it, she gets it.
Yeah.
Does she have any interest to be in music or things of the kind?
She wants to do fashion.
Oh, wow.
For film. She actually told me, Dad, I want to go to Korea.
Okay.
Yeah.
To do what in Korea?
To study fashion.
Oh, that's where it's done. I don't know.
She wants to go and study fashion in Korea.
That's interesting. It's really, really interesting.
Yeah.
So we've barely touched on your love life, but I like how you've always been proud to talk about the fact that you're with Phoebe and you've got kids. And I remember when the wedding came out was really big. kid.
Oh,
Sorry.
Yeah.
Labda watoto wa mziki. Wale, the ones you have mentored. How has your relationship survived the times? Because it takes a lot to have to share your husband with the world, to share his talent, to share his prowess, to share how he katias girls with the world. How does she take it?
Well, every relationship has its unique tale. Yeah.
How did we meet Phoebe? Hebu kwanza tuanzie hapa. I've never had the Phoebe tale. I want to hear it today.
you naweza piga nayo on the side.
No way.
Yeah, I don't kiss and tell.
No, but at least we know who it is.
Yeah.
Tunajua ni huyu. How did you meet her?
I
at
met
least
her through
that.
a friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, a friend, Sheila. Yeah, and yeah, that was in 2009.
That's a long time.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's just it.
That's just it. Iye guzangwi.
Sasa unajua kuna vitu zingine tunaweza zungumza about.
I respect that. I really do. I really respect it. But of course, we are going to see her, share the Colo journey as we're debuting 20 years, because she has been with you through the music.
Well, the only time I rarely talk about my family. But the only time you can get to experience Tawala and Phoebe is in the song that I did called Tawala.
Oh, wow.
Featuring Sauti Soul. Written by Nyashinsky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the only time.
That's the only time.
So you must if you want to experience the family side, mmejua kwenye mtapata. And I like that. I respect that. And it really, it saves a lot, because there's drama that would come with it. It's crazy.
Family is everything. And that's why earlier on we were talking about the dysfunction in African families.
Yeah.
So people go through different things, especially in the age and the time that we are existing. And, I feel it's a season for the family to actually rise up in Africa and just take their positions, especially with men. The whole concept of feminism is another conversation that I feel we really need to consider.
Better be careful, because you're sitting next to a feminist.
Now, I'm the number one feminist in this space. Being one that raises a girl child, and also, being able to enjoy the marriage that God gave me.
Yeah.
It's important to understand what the role of a woman is. But that's why I say, before we talk about the government or the church or marriage, I'm more focused to find out what the relationship men have as men.
With each other.
With each other. Because once we can be able to sort that out, then perhaps we can stop blaming the women.
Thank you.
For so many things. Because think about it. Especially in Nairobi, the city.
Yeah.
Men, I told you, are constantly in competition with each other.
For no reason.
If you find a man flashing millions of monies,
it's to show another man.
So what is that other man who doesn't have that similar amount of, what is that? What's the motive and the intention of that?
Well, I'll share with you a small experience. We're in a club setting, and there's a pretty girl. We're sitting there. One guy comes in, and he was getting his drink. And as he's getting his drink, he chokoza the girl we were with. And she got offended. She's like, we wacha kunsumbua. Because, guys will chokoza. She was like, we wacha kunsumbua. There was another guy standing there, and he sided with us. He's like, why are you disturbing the girl? Like, don't do that. And then he apologized. And then we were like, juu ya hiyo story, buy her something to make her smile, because you pissed her off. And the guy had already left. This other guy who defended left. Tell me why this young guy just said, no, wacha ule chalia kam, siwezi nunua kako hapa, lazima cheki nikibaia madem. That shit sent me. I was like, wait, you would rather apologize loudly to another man when you've offended the woman. You'd rather your apology or your masculinity be seen by another guy, not us who actually need to see it.
That's the thing.
I was a little bit taken,
That's the thing. That's the thing. And that really affects relationships.
Yeah.
So if you think about it, this thing is a deep story.
Yeah.
Because again, every woman who's in a relationship wants to be with the right man. Who is the right man?
Mr. Right.
Who is the right man?
The right one is Jesus.
Amen.
Jesus is the right
The
one.
right one is Jesus. But now that Jesus has to be in someone, in the man.
He has to exist physically.
Greater is he. The one who is
we are
in me.
seeking the kingdom first. Hapana, kingdom kwanza. Mmesikia wasichana, seek the kingdom.
Sindio? Juu ni crazy unapata madem pia wana end up confidence ya madem inapunguzwa because everyone is trying to be with the right man.
Oh, okay. And this right man is displayed with a certain amount of money, looks a certain way, because the other men approved of him because...
Again, because of money. But were we created to wake up every day to look for money?
We, ebu kosa wiki moja uone.
Sasa sindo hiyo. Ni noma. Kitu ni ngori.
Ni ngori for sure.
Yeah.
And I have to say, with every journey, we have to come to an end. That has been the POV podcast. My name is Kate. Remember to stream us live on Spotify, Boomplay, and YouTube.